girls, women, thank you for joining us today and literally for showing up for yourself. And you're at the start of what I think could be a life-changing journey. My name is Nikki Maritz and I will be your host today. And I am the CEO of IBTC, the leading tuition provider in this space. And IBTC is renowned for its remarkable service and pass rate.
Welcome, everyone. My name is Muzi Sithebe, and I'll be your co-host today. I'm a lecturer at IBTC, and I've been at IBTC for 11 years now, helping students on their study journeys. So our programs are designed to get you to pass the first time, or we stick with you until you do. Please note that we will have a Q&A session after the presentation, where you're welcome to unmute yourself or post questions in the chat as we go.
So, Muzi, last year was a very exciting year for CIMA with an unprecedented uptake of the new study path FLP. And after the new website was introduced in, was it 2023, there was some teething problems, but things seem to have settled down now. The only tricky part that I think with the changes that CIMA had that still remains is that it's still a little bit tricky to register.
Yeah, Nikki, yes, that's quite correct. I think registering with CIMA is easy if you know what you're doing. But the truth is that it's rather tricky as you don't always know what the questions mean. And then it has quite a huge impact on where you start. You don't want to get that piece wrong.
Yes, we've actually just appointed a person specifically to help students register with CIMA. It's just very important that students make the correct selections up front when they register with CIMA. So we have decided to appoint a dedicated person to assist with this. Her name is Zanele.
All right, that sounds quite awesome. I think before we start, I know everyone has some burning questions already, but the next slide will show you what we'll be covering. So just hold your questions until we reach that section, and I think we'll be good to go.
Awesome. That's a great plan, Muzi. Okay, so today we're going to cover just a little bit why you should study CIMA, why we think it's a great qualification. It's also a handy way to determine if it's the right qualification for you. We'll also look at the qualification framework, discuss entry routes, exemptions, how to register. And then we will look at ways that you can study with IBTC, what options are available to you and what will work best for you. And then we will end probably with taking some questions. But before we kick off, let's do a poll to see who we have in the audience today. It always helps us to determine where you are in your journey and how best to help you. So let's see, is the poll up? I have just started my research, but I haven't registered with CIMA or IBTC yet. I have registered with CIMA and I'm awaiting my exemptions. I'm old hat at CIMA. I'm at Certificate Ops Management or Strat level, and I'm actually hoping to start at an advanced entry point. Okay, I can see the results coming in. Look at that. Sure. Okay, I can safely say that, guys, probably 80% or more is just starting to do their research, not registered with CIMA or with IBTC yet. 13 ops level, 11 certificate level, 11 have registered with CIMA and awaiting your exemptions. Okay, I'm going to end the poll and see if I can just quickly share the results with you. There you go. Okay, this helps us a lot to know where to pitch it. So let me go to what is important. This poll reminds me of a poll we did, Muzi, recently with our own student community. We wanted to know what's important to students. What are the things they look for when choosing a college? And this is what the results said. First and foremost, students want support. Then it's accreditation. And You know, what we saw last year with the de-accreditation of Damlin, which came as quite a bit of a shock. I understand why accreditation is important to students in South Africa. And in the third place is results. The college pass rate is just so important. And in the fourth place, the most important things to student is the quality of the material and the tuition. Muzi, does this resonate with you? Are you surprised to see what's important to our students?
No, Nikki, I'm not surprised at all. I think when a student chooses to sign up with a college, they do so specifically because they want someone to help them properly. Sometimes students feel that they can do it on their own and save some money. And there are always a good number of students each semester who felt that they could do it on their own, but after having failed their exam a number of times, they then decide to sign up for classes with IBTC. But ultimately, they found that signing up with a college really helped them to cut down, firstly, on their study time, and also to help them to stay on track.
Yeah, yeah. And the accreditation is obviously also a concern to our students. Again, I think of Damlin. You don't want to sign up with a college that doesn't have the proper accreditation and you find out you wasted your money trying to get your qualification, right?
Yeah, that's true. And we know that the one thing the students really, really care about is getting a pass.
Did you know, Muzi, we're the only college who consistently publishes our pass rates? If it's good or if it's bad news, we share our results openly. It took us 8 years to get to the point where we have a consistent, remarkable pass rate, and we're very proud of it. I always say we stand and fall by our ability to get students to pass first time. Hello, Timakatsu. I can see you're very committed with the baby and being here. Welcome. So again, just you know, life is there, and then your career, and then you're trying to improve yourself. It's the same for us all. So just
Yeah.
again, we always say we stand and fall by our ability to get students to pass first time. We know that is the one number.
But Nikki, in your opinion, what is behind IBTC's remarkable pass rate?
Okay, that's a good question. Sure. It is, I'm thinking, what are the things that we do differently to anybody else? There are two things that stand out for me, Muzi. The one thing is our resources. So I know for students, they said the quality of the resources are very important. That's the tuition and your tutor and your lecturer and your books. So we've partnered with BPP in the UK. And they are a global CIMA tuition provider in the UK, and they work very closely with CIMA. And it took us a few years to get it, but we have the exclusive license to use their resources in our courses. And through our partnership, we are really able to buy in world-class resources. I always feel that if a student is studying a global qualification, they should have access to global expertise. So that's why we bring in that global material and resources, the videos and tests and things for our students from the UK. The other thing closer to home that makes us different is our focus on remarkable service. It's really the care and the support we give students that really underpins our good pass rate, I believe. We always say we don't sell a course to you and then you're just on your own. We call you, we check in, we monitor your progress, we make sure you do the right stuff before your exam and so forth. We have a fancy name for it. I just call it hand holding. We hand hold our students up to the exam.
That sounds quite good. Sounds quite
Mm.
good. So Nikki, I'm keen to share this particular slide with you.
Yeah, this one.
That's the one. So we know that CIMA recommends Kaplan material, but we went against the grain and we're exclusively using BPP material. And that's because we simply get better pass rates with BPP, right?
Mm-hmm.
So here we compare the global CIMA pass rates against the pass rates achieved by all students who use BPP resources. And this is including IBTC students. Traditionally, BA2 and P1 are sort of known as very tricky subjects. But as you can see, our students perform 20% better on BA2 and P1 than the global average. And you
Sure.
can also see,
Got
just
something?
based on this, why we consider ourselves to be case study experts. I mean, a whopping 92% pass rates at strategic level. And on average, our case study performance is 10 to 30% better than the global average.
The truth is, Muzi, that you're actually 60% more likely to pass your exam with BPP and IBTC.
That's
So
correct.
tell me, is CIMA for everyone?
You know, students often wonder if they should do their honors next or do CIMA or an MBA, for instance. And they want to be sure that CIMA is the right career choice for them. The truth is that CIMA isn't for everybody. CIMA combines business and finance, like an MBA and psycho rolled into one. So generally the rule I follow is that if you like tax and auditing, then CIMA maybe is not for you. But if you enjoy business, performance, costs, then it might be the right one for you. A large part of financial accounting is looking back, dealing with transactions that occurred in the past. Management accounting is looking forward, dealing with budgets, forecasts, pricing, future risk, as well as strategy.
And another reason to study CIMA, I find, is that it's a professional qualification. You get an actual designation. There's the letter CGMA behind your name, versus an academic qualification where you are awarded a diploma or a degree. I always feel that a professional qualification offers you more opportunities and better value for money spent on studying.
That's true. That's true. Also, CIMA is a respected and well-known qualification across the globe. So you can work around the world or right here for a global company. It's a very portable qualification when it comes to your career. In fact, 95% of the world's top brands actually employ CGMAs. So this means that you are immensely employable.
And the circle here is the competency framework that underpins the qualification. Do you feel, Muzi, that it reflects the skills that are required in your job, for instance?
Yes, definitely. You can see that there isn't just a focus on technical or financial skills, but also on people skills, business skills, digital skills, as well as leadership skills. So this competency framework is a very good foundation for your coursework and your exam, which is handy to know. I think to sum it up, why I like CIMA is that CIMA is really where business meets finance. It's a finance qualification and it's a business qualification. It's like being a CA with an MBA, which means you're competent in a lot of areas and you can play a multitude of roles.
Yes. Oh, sorry, wait. I just admitted someone. Um, uh, I think this is a good example of all the roles you can play as a CGMA. You can see the C-suite. Let me just grab my pen here. Where are the C-suites? C-suites over here. And then also the non-financial roles, Muzi, like marketing manager and strategic planner and what if I've got operations director. I actually have a nice story I can share with you. Also some consulting roles, and then obviously the finance roles. But this reminds me of a story, Muzi. I can't remember if I told you before, but I had a boss who was a CGMA in a previous life. He was when I was much younger, and he literally started at the company as an accountant, and then he worked his way up, and he became the financial manager or the head accountant of that department, and eventually became the CFO. And I think somebody in operations left, and then he took operations under his wing. And then he moved into marketing department. So he did the front end marketing and sales of the business. And from there, he headed up the new business side of the business. So it was new acquisitions and things and growing the business. And that took him into Africa. And then he returned to South Africa as the CEO of that company where he started as an accountant. And that's literally a full journey on the back of his CGMA designation.
Wow, that's actually quite impressive. I love
It
that
is.
example. Yeah.
It is, isn't it? Um, then I think also the salary, the
Yeah, yeah.
salary side, Muzi.
That's one of the most, I think, sought after bits, but definitely there's the salary. Fortunately, CIMA has an annual salary survey that reveals that a CGMA in South Africa earns on average about 844,000 per annum. And I know some students in my E2 class who are earning about 35,000 per month, and they aren't even fully qualified yet. In the
Okay.
UK, there you could earn about 63,000 pounds a year, which is roughly 1.2 million rands. And this is according to a real CIMA survey that was recently conducted.
That's quite a bit of money. Did you know that, and it's a fact, that the average basic salary for a CIMA student in South Africa is 13% higher than the national average salary for similar positions?
Wow, I didn't know that, but I think that's a great reason to study CIMA.
It is, isn't it? Okay, so I think this is always a lovely slide for me. There's a lot to explain on here. I can take you through the CIMA qualification. Okay, so the entry route to the CIMA qualification is this portion, which is the open entry certificate level. So anybody can start at the certificate level. And then this section is the professional qualification. And the professional qualification is quite cleverly designed. It consists of 3 levels, 1, 2, 3, 3 levels and 3 pillars. Okay. The pillars are the enterprise pillar, and the enterprise stands for business, so it's the business pillar. And then the P is the performance pillar, and F is the finance pillar or the classic accounting. So in the enterprise pillar, which is this E section, the blue section, this is where we typically look at business models, management of people and projects, and this is where the strategy is formulated for the business. Then in the performance pillar, this darker green section, this is really the heart of the qualification. Here you will use your management accounting and risk management skills to ensure that the strategy that was developed in the E pillar, that is realistic. And this is where you monitor the implementation of the strategy. Here we deal with costs, budget, pricing, capital expenditure, and managing performance. And here your focus is a lot on risk. Boy, I can make a mess of it. Let me just rub all of this out, and I can see. Can you see a P3 deals all of it with risk? Sorry. So this is where your risk lies, and risk is a very important topic nowadays. So here you learn how to progressively from your operations level to your management level to your strategic level to progressively identify risk. And then you can classify it and you can evaluate it, and eventually you can figure out how to manage that risk. And then the final pillar is your F pillar. It's the lighter green. And this is really the financial accounting and reporting obligations of the organization. Most students with a financial background will be most familiar with this portion. It's the regulatory framework and external reporting requirements. You're taught how to construct and evaluate quite complex financial statements so that you can show the financial position and the performance of the organization. And here you deal with business tax and the tax implication of financing decisions. And here you assess the risk that has been identified in the performance pillar. Muzi, can you maybe talk us through each of the subjects? I think from previous presentations, students have shown that they find it very helpful, but I can only give you like 10 seconds per subject.
Sure, no problem. Well,
Okay.
at the certificate level, BA1, you'll deal with macro and microeconomics. BA2, there you deal with costing, planning, and control. So this is really the introduction into management accounting. BA3 is the standard recording of financial transactions, preparing accounts, and analyzing financial statements. Here it is basically assumed that you've got very little knowledge or limited knowledge or financial background. BA4 deals with company administration, CSI, and legal things such as employment contracts. So once you've passed all of these subjects, you get the certificate in business accounting. which is an NQF5 qualification. Then when we move on to the professional level, there we'll see E1, and that covers things such as big data, shared services, and also the traditional business functions, such as sales, marketing, HR, operations, and IT. In P1, here you really get into it, dealing with things such as manufacturing, things like marginal costing and absorption costing, budgets, pricing, break-even analysis, as well as profitability and probability distributions. F1 has your cash flows, inventory days, payables, receivables, tax, and preparing financial statements. Once you pass all of these subjects, you then write your operational case study to then get your CIMA diploma in management accounting. And this is an NQF6 qualification. Then moving on to your management level. In E2, that's where we'll see things such as our business models, project management, and managing people, sort of like health and safety and negotiating strategies, for instance. P2 deals with managing costs. There you'll see topics like activity-based management and just-in-time, KPIs such as your liquidity, profitability, and return on investment, as well as risk and control. In F2, you will deal with preparing group accounts and IFRS standards, as well as integrated reporting. And once you pass all the subjects on the management level, that's when we then do the management case study to get your CIMA Advanced Diploma in Management Accounting. And finally, at the strategic level, this is where you need to start thinking like a CFO. In E3, you'll see topics such as your PESTEL, SWOT, purpose, vision, as well as value chain analysis, but all of these at a CFO or CEO level of understanding and using it. In P3, you'll do a lot of risk, such as your risk mapping, risk control, cyber risk, strategic risk, etc. In F3, you start looking at how to fund a business and how to take a business to the next level. You look at your sources of long-term finance, mergers and acquisitions, and the like. On completion of your final case study at the strategic level, the academic component of your studies is then done, and you just need to complete your proof of practical experience to be awarded your CGMA designation.
Excellent. Thank you so much for that overview. That is perfect. I think I'm going to leave this slide behind and then move on to, oh, it looks like somebody is writing on my on my screen. Nonetheless, okay, so I wanted to show you the entry route to this qualification. Okay, there are two ways to work through this qualification. One have become known as the PQ route, and the other one has become known as the FLP route. The PQ route is called the professional qualification route for reasons unbeknownst to me. It doesn't mean the other route doesn't give you a professional qualification. But nonetheless, there are two ways of getting through this qualification. One is the PQ route. In the PQ route, you have to work through 13 subjects and sit 13 competency exams or objective test. So 13 subjects is these 4 BA subjects, the E1, P1, F1, E2, P2, F2, E3, P3, F3, and you have to write 3 case study exams. Okay, so you have to sit through all of these. So it's 16 exams in total if you don't get any exemptions, and you have 10 years to complete all your exams. Now listen closely. On the PQ route, you can prepare for your exam any way you want to, okay? Any way you want to. You can beg, steal, or borrow a book. You can use a friend's book. You can join a study group. You can join a college. You can study online, offline, classes, hybrid, go to the library, do your own thing, study on YouTube. It doesn't matter. When you are ready, you simply book your exam and you sit your exam. So typically on the PQ route, what students do, they will apply for exemptions, they'll say they are ready to study, and they will sign up with the college for 1, 2, or 3 subjects, and they will come to class or study online, and when you are ready, you book your exam. So if you've passed your first 2 exams, you maybe come back and you say, now I want to attend classes, or I want to take up my next subject. And when you pass that, you come to our classes for your case study exam, and you work your way through the qualification in that way. I call it a little bit a pay-as-you-go arrangement, small bits at a time, and you pay every time you want to do something. Okay, so the FLP route. I don't know how many of you have heard about the FLP route, and it might not be that new anymore, but if you, I imagine a lot of you have got questions about it. The FLP route. You only have to do the 3 case study exams. It means you don't have to sit the 13 competency exams, the E, P, F, and BA exams. Instead of those exams, you do continuous assessment of EPF and BAs. And continuous assessment means you answer the questions while you are studying. So the questions are integrated in your studies. And by doing that, you prove your competence. And then you only sit the case study exams at the end of each professional level. So you work through all of E1, the studies and the questions. You work through all of P1, the studies and the questions. You work through all of F1, the studies and the questions. You're done with all of that. You can then sit your case study exam. Okay. Okay, so now we get to the next point. On the FLP route, you cannot just study any way you like. You cannot study on your own using a textbook and then sitting the exam. You have to sign up onto the FLP platform through a tuition provider and then complete your learning of E, P, and F or BA on the FLP platform. So on the platform, you will get all the study material you need, and in that study material, interspersed in your study material, are activities and questions in lieu of the exam that you now don't have to do. On that platform, you also find your case study prep material. So on the FLP platform, say this is the platform, this whole thing is the platform, you enter onto the platform and everything is there. So you buy time onto the platform, okay? So you buy a subscription model. You pay for access to all the study material across all the levels. And if you've bought time, maybe you've bought 1 year access, you have to study as much as you can in the time that you bought. If you bought a 1 year subscription, you must be dedicated and not try and race through as many subjects as possible, but you can't be laid back and now just take 6 months off or 3 months off because you've paid a lot of money for it. So FLP is obviously a big upfront cost, while PQ, as I said, you can pay as you go. So the question I always get, so I will just ask the question for myself, Nikki, which do you recommend, the PQ route or the FLP route? Okay, as an employer, I like the PQ route. The PQ route, I feel you get more into the detail of the subject. You learn more, and it's probably because you are preparing for an exam. Because you know your subject content so well, because you've now done an exam for your E, P, and your F subject, because you know that content so well, your case study exam could be easier because your case study exam draws on your E, P, and F content. So with FLP, you don't write your E, P, and F exam. So chances are that maybe you'll battle a bit when you get to your case study exam, because it draws on this EP and F subject knowledge for which you now didn't write an exam. But FLP is a much faster route, of course. So it's a difficult decision, I imagine. What is important to know that whether you study the PQ route or the FLP route, you all write the same case study exam. Muzi, which do you prefer, the traditional PQ route or the new FLP route?
Well, Nikki, what I like about FLP is that there are fewer exams, and it looks like you'll be qualified.
Everybody loves that, Muzi.
Definitely. Everyone looks forward to that piece. But then what I also like about the traditional route is that there's a lot more rigor to it. And you're doing this qualification to pick up certain skills, to learn more and work better. With PQ, I believe you'll definitely learn more and your work performance will be better for it.
Yes. Yes. You know, with each route, I think there are pressure points. I think with FLP, the pressure point is at the case study exam because the risk of not being familiar enough with your OT subject, which is, I don't know if I mentioned that, I call it a E, P, and F, and the BA's OT subjects because you write an objective test exam. You can also call it a multiple choice exam, but the correct term is an objective test exam because the answers are not objective.
Yeah.
So you don't have to write your OT subject exams. And therefore you might not be so familiar with it.
That's correct. That's correct. And with the traditional PQ route, the case study exam should be a lot easier for you. But like you say, the pressure points there now become the objective tests or the OT exams, which you need to pass first before doing the case studies.
So at the end of the day, I think it's a bit of a personal decision, which route is best for you, right?
Absolutely, Nikki. And a financial decision, of course. PQ is a bit lighter on the pocket, and you can also do it in small chunks, like one subject at a time, whereas FLP is a big upfront capital layout in comparison.
That's right. And not to mention, you need to stay committed for the duration of your subscription period on FLP.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so exemptions. It's when the crowd comes alive, Muzi.
Yep. I think for everyone, just also looking at the chat, if you want to know what exemptions you can expect, I think this is a very, very good section for you to listen closely to. If we don't cover it in the next few slides, then we will be looking at the chat and we can give it to you at the end of the presentation as well. But I think this section should answer a lot of the questions that have already come up.
Fantastic. So before you start posting exactly what qualification you have, there are various ways to apply for exemption. Some of it could be your educational qualification or your diploma or your degree. You might want to use the route where you use your membership, which is when you use your professional qualification. It would probably have been better if they said professional membership or your educational qualification, or you can use your experience and your role, which is like an RPL. So don't be too stuck on just thinking I must use my educational qualification, my degree for exemption. So exemptions can be based on your professional membership. If you are a member of CICA, CIPA, ICB, or ACCA, for instance, if you are a CICA member, you will start at the strategic case study level. Now, isn't that great? If you're a CIPA member, you will start at management level, which means you will start with E2, then do P2, F2, and your management case study. If you have a membership with ACCA, also at E2, and if you have membership with ICB, then you will start at E1. So that is if you use your professional membership to apply for exemptions. If you're going to use your educational qualification, which admittedly most people do, then you will use your diploma or degree to apply for exemptions. CICA, you are a CASA, then you will use what's called the special pathway. And again, you will still start at the strategic case study level. If you've got BCom Finance Honors, for instance, BCom Finance Honors, you will start management case study. Okay. If you have a BCom Finance or Accounting, anywhere in that name, it says BCom, the word finance or accounting is there, then you start at E2, not at the case study. If you've got a plain BCom, for instance, you start at E1. Okay, a plain MBA, also at E1. ICB, also at E1. You start at this level. Postgraduate diploma in accounting or finance, you start at E2. You start over here. Okay, so let's just see. Here you see it again. So a normal BCom starts at E1, a BCom with finance starts at E2, and a BCom finance honors starts at management case study. Note that you will get the same exemptions and starting point, whether you choose the PQ route or the FLP route. Okay, qualifications must not be older than 7 years. There is a couple of other things that affect if you start a
Excuse me.
level up, level down. Yes.
These exemptions that you're describing, are these the exemptions anyway you go to register to write the CIMA exam?
Yes, absolutely.
Oh,
It's
okay.
not IBTC exemptions. These are CIMA exemptions. Okay.
Okay, thank you for clarifying.
You are more than welcome. So when you register with CIMA, we are IBTC. We are the tuition provider. When you register with CIMA, you apply with CIMA for exemptions. So this example, I see these slides are now updated. This is quite nice. If you've studied with UNISA, this is an example. See if you can see your qualification here, and you can see where your starting level is and at what subject. So it's only with an honors in financial management where you will start at a case study level. Otherwise, you will start at either E1 or at E2. Okay. If you studied with UCT, KZN, or WITS, you can see again your honors start you at case study, which has its own complexity. You can't really attempt your case study exam unless you've worked through the EP and F subjects anyway. If you are with an IEE college, then again, BCom finance, and BCom accounting. So those are the illustrations for where you can start at which level you will start. Okay. Then the third way to get exemption. So the one I said was your professional body membership. The other one was your qualification, your academic qualification. And the third one is experience and level of your role, which is really RPL. And this is an expedited pathway that gives you entry into one of 3 programs. The program's name doesn't really matter, but if you have a PhD in accounting and business and you've got more than 6 years teaching or research experience, then you only have to complete the strategic case study. Okay. The CFO route is not just for CFOs, it's for executives, CFOs, CEOs, any executive with more than 10 years experience. If you have more than 10 years experience in accounting, finance, and business at executive level, you can apply for the CFO program. And you also then only have to do the strategic case study exam. How great is that? The senior executive program is if you're a senior manager with more than 6 years experience in accounting, finance, and business, then you are eligible to apply for the senior executive program, and you will start at management case study. Okay. The other paths, if any of you on this at this open day remember the CIMA gateway or other paths they have, those don't exist anymore. Sorry, but on a rare occasion, the South African exemption team may consider you for an old pathway on a case-by-case basis, they say.
I think a word of warning as well is that if you have been exempted from a subject, CIMA assumes that your knowledge is good enough to have passed that subject and that you understand the content in the way that CIMA has presented it. So before you accept all your exemptions, our advice is to, at the very least, go through the syllabus document and highlight areas that you don't feel comfortable with. If it's more than 40, 50%, we would suggest that you don't take that exemption. Rather spend sufficient time recapping that particular subject. Also, your case study exam requires thorough knowledge of the E, P, and F subjects in that particular level. So you need to make sure that there are no knowledge gaps. We recommend that you recap these subjects before starting your case study preparation. We have courses specifically for students who are exempted based on experience and level. Here we include the EP and F study material to help ensure that there are no gaps.
Absolutely. I've seen some colleges then also include EP and F classes, but that's really not required if you've been exempted up to case study level, because you're not going to write that EP and F exam. So we like to say at IBTC, we give you everything that you need, but not too much, because we don't want to, there's no need to give you more than you need to pass. Okay, it's also important to note that you can look up your exemptions on the CIMA global website, but that's usually a guide. Ultimately, your exemptions have to be approved by the CIMA SA exemption team. Usually the website's about 95% correct most of the time, but it's just, we just like to say that when it comes to exemptions, we've seen students just do it in the wrong way and they start at the wrong level, and you're studying for 6 months and you've paid to be in our classes and you only to find out you're on the wrong program, you're at the wrong level. And we do our very best to make sure, if you study with us or not, let us help you, because we just want to make sure you start on the right level with the right stuff. Okay. So now you are a student and you want to register with CIMA. And to register with CIMA as a student, you have to do 2 things. You first have to create a profile or a login on their new website. Okay, so once you've done that, you then have an account with them. But that doesn't mean you're registered as a student. So the next part you have to do is to register as a new student. And that is the part that is a little bit tricky, because it's super easy to make the incorrect selections. They ask you something, I can't remember, Vanessa, what the question is, but they would ask you, do you have this or that experience? You think they are talking about your work experience, but they're actually asking if you've got a lecturing experience. Lecturing experience, yes. And then you end up on the wrong level. And then what happens is they at CIMA will randomly come and check if you have the information you gave them when you registered. They will come and audit it. And if they see that you have made the wrong selection, they could disqualify you from CIMA. So if you're a new student, please make use of IBTC's free CIMA Assist service so that we can help you just get registered properly. You can email us at info@ibtc.co.za with your subject heading CIMA Assist or any subject heading. We will open it and we will see that you just need a little bit of help. We can do it on Teams, so we can help you. Just make sure that you register with CIMA properly. Another thing to note, if this isn't your first rodeo, then previously you could register with CIMA, pay your registration fee, apply for your exemptions, and then you will know your starting point and you will come to a college and start studying. Now, what has changed is with your registration fee, CIMA is also charging you for an exam fee. It's usually the E subject. And so you can't get around that, or BA1 if you're at certificate level. And this is really to encourage you to sit your exam and get on with it. That exam token is valid for 1 year. In fact, all exam fees are now valid for 1 year as opposed to the previous 2 years.
Wow, quite complicated and quite a lot to remember, hey?
I know. So when in doubt, please just let us help you. We have got IBTC CIMA Assist, and it's info@ibtc.co.za when you are ready to register on the CIMA website. Okay, so I briefly want to show you just ways to study with IBTC. How do you prepare for these CIMA exams, whether you are doing the PQ route or the FLP route? Okay, so I'm going to first look at the PQ route. How do you prepare for those exams? So you have the option of attending virtual classes. This is quite simple. This used to be our on-site campus classes, but since COVID, we've moved online. And this is very similar to what you're doing now. You will be in a small class with your lecturer, and you are attending once a week, you're attending a virtual class. Our virtual classes start mid-February, And to hit the ground running, what I quite like is if you enroll now and we send the study material to you, and you can study a few chapters prior coming to class end February. So now is really a good time to sign up for 1 or 2 subjects. And included in that class package is then 13 live online sessions like we're doing now, 1 day a week. But you also have, and it's exclusive to IBTC, you've got access to our online hub. And on that online hub, you find something quite remarkable. It's recorded lectures by the UK's best CIMA lecturer with the best pass rate. And we have got those videos that's got 100% syllabus coverage. So it's really like getting 2 lecturers for the price of 1. Muzi, which subjects do you lecture?
Currently F2, F3, and the case study.
Strat case study.
Strategic case study.
Oh, you love strategic case study, and strategic case study loves you.
Yeah.
Okay, so you sign up for virtual classes, then you've got those BPP lecture videos, the UK lecture videos, and you've got Muzi once a week. Okay, then we also have an online course. So the online course is quite nifty because you will be ready in about 8 to 10 weeks. It is, you've got monthly start dates. So say you are attending classes with us from February to April, and then you're waiting for your June, July classes to begin. But in between, you quickly want to knock one subject on its head, you can enroll for an online course for one of the subjects. And it is led by UK lecturer, and there's a step-by-step program and a nice fast-paced program that you have to follow. And you are in a cohort of classmates from across the globe, and then that tutor or lecturer is responsible for the pass rate of this little class. So as I said, a fast-paced schedule, 8 to 10 weeks, guaranteed. If you do everything that you need to do when you need to do it, like every Sunday you need to submit a test, guaranteed you will pass. And if you don't, you can come back for free, because we totally believe in that formula. You do that, you will pass, or you come back for free. And then we've got a Home Study Plus package. I love that package. It is where we deliver the books to you. What do they say? Click, click, ding dong. So you order it and we deliver the books to you to your front door, and you get the books and support material delivered to your home. And we will assign, remember when I spoke about the handholding? We will assign a home study support person to look after you and track your progress. So we literally phone you all the time and email you and say, but you are not studying, and can you submit this? And we help to prioritize your studies for you. The kicker is you're not doing Home Study Plus. The kicker is that you also get access to those online video lectures. The same lectures, you get access to those UK lectures and virtual classes. The online course has got it. And we thought, how can we make our home study better? It's obviously our most affordable product. But if I give you the books and give you all the support that I can and a study program and everything, what if I also give you these lectures? You can watch them at home in your pajamas. Other things to note, apart from these videos from the UK's best lecturers, we also have revision videos in there, and those revision videos are much shorter and they're ideal to watch in those 2 weeks just before the exam. Okay, so I hope that clarifies how our PQ classes work.
Yeah,
So,
I think it does it quite well. I think it's a nice way of explaining it, actually.
oh, thank you. Okay, so I briefly just want to explain, and then I'm going to get to FLP, but I just want to explain how to approach your studies now, to plan your studies, because we've seen people who've just come from university and they're used to doing way more subjects than 2. You take 2 or 3 subjects, and I want to show you just what it takes. So if you're preparing to write an OT exam, so it's a BA or a EP or F subject, and you want to come to our classes, we recommend you know, actually doesn't matter which method you follow. We just generally don't recommend that you study more than 2 subjects at a time. And I will show you why. So in this example, you have signed up for E1 with us. Could also be BA1 or P2 or F3, and you're attending virtual classes, for example, on a Saturday. You come to class once a week for each of your subjects. Okay, I believe that you never walk into a class cold. So the session before your class you use to prepare for the upcoming class. So here you've got a study session, and you don't need to study, but at least you must page through the material and see what is it about. When I go to Muzi's class, what is he going to be talking about? It just helps you retain so much more information, and then you don't have to struggle so much with revision, and just don't walk into that class cold. Okay, so the session before you work a little bit through the material. On the Saturday you come to class, and on that Monday you now study and consolidate that information. So you do this for about 8 to 12 weeks. Maybe you picked up a second subject, and some subjects are a little bit harder, but it might not be the same subjects are hard for the same person. Maybe the book is just fatter, like with P1, the book is just fatter. Or maybe you're a little bit less familiar with the content. Then you can add another study session, maybe on a Sunday, for instance, just to ramp up your study hours. So what this aims to illustrate is how you can plan your studies firstly, but it also tries to show you that you cannot really fit in a third subject, especially if you're also working a 9-to-5 job. And first-timers often make the mistake, we call it the rookie mistake. So first-timers often make the mistake of taking too many subjects at once and then end up literally failing all of them. And we see when students take 1 or 2 subjects, they tend to pass them. And I'm not saying that it can't be done. Many of our students have successfully studied 3 subjects at once. It's just about knowing what you're in for and being able to make that commitment.
Yeah, agree with that.
Cool.
I think what we can look at is how you can prepare for your case study exam. And in this case, it doesn't matter if you're doing the PQ or the FLP route. Both routes always come together at the case study. My best advice is to always try and attend our case study exam prep classes. We have an almost 100% pass rate, and we only need 4 days to get you ready for your exam. All right. So here is how I would do it. We recommend about 100 hours to prepare for your case study exam. This is, of course, quite heavily dependent on how familiar you are with the underlying E, P, and F subjects. The most important thing to know is that the case study exam draws heavily on that E, P, and F knowledge. But let's say you've completed your E, P, and F exams in the last 12 to 18 months, and the information is still quite fresh and will come back quite quickly. Then you typically don't need more than 100 hours to prep for your case study exam. Right. In week 1 and 2, what you want to do is revise the EP and F subjects, ensuring that there are no knowledge gaps. Then you read through the pre-scene in quite a bit of detail in preparation for your first class. You'll spend 2 weekends on our exam prep classes. Here we analyze the case study line by line, underline, making notes in the margin. We refer to all the relevant models that you'd come across, such as your SWOT, Mandelow's matrix, ANSOF, Porter's value chain, McKinsey's, you name it. And very, very importantly, we'll also do a mock exam. Then in week 4 and 6, that's where you'll spend 2 weekends on question practice and basically taking this time to fill in any knowledge gaps that were exposed in class, and then doing a final mock exam as well. And that's basically how we would go about preparing for our case study.
Indeed, that's how we do it. Okay, so that is great. And you say this is for PQ and for FLP students?
That's correct. Yeah.
And you just, I always say, Muzi, your job, the student's job is, because I like our case study classes so much, the student's job is when you come to our case study classes, you have one job, and that is to make sure you've got good E, P, and F knowledge. And then once they come into class, then it becomes Muzi's problem. Because we will take you through that case study and prep you and tell you what type of questions you're going to get and what model to use in your answer and what framework, and we will drill you until you cannot fail that case study. But if you're in that class and Muzi says something about Mandler's matrix or something and you can't remember that and it comes out of E, P, and F, then he can't work with you. He probably can, but just your illustration is you must be good on EPF, we will be good with case study.
100%.
Okay.
100%.
So now you are deciding, oh, I actually love this FLP route, and who wouldn't? You only have to do 3 exams. And as I said, so now the question is, how do I study for this? So as I mentioned, you don't have the option of doing your own thing. You have to go to do the FLP route. You have to study on the CIMA FLP platform, where you find all the study material for all the levels and all the prep material for all the case studies. Everything is there. You simply have to buy a subscription and work through the competency questions as quickly, so the EP and F questions, as quickly as possible to unlock the next case study. If you work really fast and you pass your case study exam the first time, you can literally work through all the levels in as little as a year. Can you believe that? Although most students do it in 2 years. So they do the whole thing in 2 years. Okay, so as I mentioned, you have to buy your FLP subscription through an accredited tuition provider like IBTC, and we sell it in 3 different ways. We sell the standard product. The standard product is when you buy time on the FLP platform. Okay, the price you pay includes your registration fee and it includes your subscription fee. It also includes, so you can buy a 1, 2, or 3 year subscription fee, and you can start at any time. But having said that, I think there are better start times and worse start times, but we will guide you with that. I think they're clever ways of approaching when you're going to start your FLP. Okay, so the standard one, what I wanted to say was it includes all your study material. We give tutor support on this, and there are 6 exam tokens. So there's 2 per level. So you've got 2 opportunities for the price you paid to attempt your operation case study exam, 2 opportunities to attend your management case study exam, and 2 opportunities to attempt your strategic case study exam. And that is the standard product that you buy. Then our students came in and said, but can't we also attend your case study classes, those classes with Muzi? We love them. How else are we going to pass our case study exam if you don't come to your classes? So they had a point. So he added our case study classes. So we have decided to add 6 case study class opportunities, 2 per level. So because I thought, well, if CIMA can give you 6 exam tokens, we can give you 6 case study class opportunities. So the rest is still the fee that you pay is for everything. It's a 1, 2, or 3 year subscription. You can start at any time, includes your registration subscription fee. It includes all the material, and it includes IBTC tutor access, but boy, it also includes 6 opportunities to come to our case study classes. So this is at the moment, can I say, a fan favorite? Okay, so that's probably the most popular one. Then students were saying, but actually, even though I work on FLP through the EP and F material, I need a little bit more help. Some people sell EP and F classes. I really don't think you need to come to all those classes, like 12 or 14 classes for your E subject and 12 or 14 for your P subject. What we have added was those pre-recorded lecture videos for the pillar, a E pillar revision video, an F pillar revision video and an e-pillar revision video, because we think this is spot on. It's exactly what you need if you need a little bit more help. And then you also get 6 case study opportunities. So this is something that we have created. Actually very innovative with our naming. It's just FLP Premium Plus. It's because students have been asking for it. So I can highly recommend this one as well, and it is quite new. What else? Let me see. Students said they feel they need more help with the OTs. Yes. So this really helps students with those tricky subjects like P2. Muzi, am I right? Is P2 the most difficult subject in CIMA? Can I say that?
Yeah, I think you definitely can. So it has the lowest pass rates in CIMA, but of course, if you study with IBTC, your chances of passing just become that much higher.
Of course.
And like you were mentioning, I think it's a very, very fair warning to say, any colleges that you see selling FLP, but then, also including an entire barrage of classes for EP and F. Sounds like a nice idea, especially while you're apprehensive and not sure what you're getting into, but definitely worth warning against, because you don't need that intensive level of OT prep and don't need the extra classes or extra books. In fact, it might turn out to be just a waste of time and resources. So just be very, very aware of that.
You think it's a case of less is more?
Definitely, definitely.
Okay, so we showed you how to plan for your PQ, and I just want to show you how to plan for your Andre. Andre, are you sending me messages, secret messages? I just wanted to show you, I don't know if anybody can see that he's writing on the screen. Okay, so I just want to quickly show you how to plan your FLP studies. So if you're starting at the operational level, most students buy the 2-year subscription. You should really be able to complete all 3 levels in 2 years, and I can show you how. Okay, so if you start at operational level and you start now-ish in January, then your first case study opportunity will be in February. But you won't be ready to sit your case study in February, right? So CIMA, because you must work through your EP, oh my gosh, I can't even write, EP and F material first. So CIMA recommends about 75 hours for your E and your P and your F. Okay, so 75 times 3 on the FLP platform. So it's reasonable to say that May case study exam is going to be your first opportunity to really sit the case study. Then after the May case study exam, you can, is it quite noisy in the background? Can I get a check? I can put my earphones on if it is.
That's fine, Nikki. That sounds perfect.
Okay, fantastic. Okay, so you signed up with us in January. February is too soon to write your case study exam. You in between now and May, you go through your EP and F content, and you are ready to write your May exam. You came to our classes and you have then passed the operation case study exam. The moment you walk out of that exam room, you don't have to wait for your results because you've now bought FLP. So you get cracking on EP and F management level. That's EP and F2. Yeah, E2, P2, F2. Then probably will August be too soon? August can be too soon, but you can sit in November definitely and you write your management case study exam. In the unlikely event that you fail, you can always resit it in February, but you can then do EP and F3 and write your strategic. So your 2-year period is literally up to there. So do you see you've got basically 6 months spare? And so it totally can be done that you can do 3 levels in 2 years. And a lot of our students do that. The ideal start date, isn't that a thing? I think you should chat to us before you sign up for FLP. If you study with us or with a different college, it doesn't really matter. We like to give everybody as much information as we can. We can just help you select the best start date for you. Having said that, now is the ideal time to start to sign up so that you can start in February. Okay, so we did mention that FLP, although you only have to write 3 subjects, it is quite costly. And Muzi, can you talk us through some financing options for the students?
Sure, Nikki. Thank you. So we have 2 finance options for you. If you're on PQ, there you will buy 1 or 2 subjects at a time. And these range from 4,000 to 8,000, depending on the subject and the study method that you're selecting. You can use IBTC's payment plan to pay for your studies, which is interest-free. You pay a small deposit and the rest you put on a debit order for 4 months. This, unfortunately, is not available for FLP. On the FLP route, this is substantially more expensive, as we've mentioned, and this comes in at 62,500 to 160,000. But remember that you can get through the full qualification in about 2 years, as Nikki has mentioned. To pay for your FLP studies, you can either take out a study loan with our loan partner, Student Hero. There, you can pay over a longer period than what you would with IBTC, which reduces the monthly installments. And what's good is they use an easy desktop application with a quick turnaround time for your applications there.
Yeah, they have helped quite a number of our students, Muzi. The nice thing is that because they are a finance house, they have a longer payment period, so the amount is a lot lower, whereas we do, I think, 4 or 5 month payment plans. Okay, great. Then we also have a open day experience page. So what does that mean? It means that I always thought after you've attended the open day, you made all your notes, maybe you want to go back and say, what did they say again about PQ and ideal start dates? Or what did they say about this or that? Or how many subjects must I take again? You can go to, follow the link that's probably been posted now, and you can go to our open day experience page. And we have taken this full presentation and split it up into smaller chunks. So we've got a little bit about why study CIMA, and that's about the salaries and the competency framework. And then we've got ways of studying with IBTC. You can have a look and see what our online course looks like. You can go and see what our recorded lectures looks like. And then a lovely recording by Muzi himself is winning at case study, because totally Muzi was just winning at case study, just exceptional results. And we thought, let's record it. So we also have a video called how to complete a level in a year, so that you can also do that. Okay, so just before I show you how to make a booking on our website, to get a quote. Some people want a quote, so you can show it to your manager, or you can think about how you're going to pay, or how much does FLP cost. Before I do that, I just want to share some stories with you from our students. You can see a lot of our students comment on our support. On the support, we give them what I call hand-holding, and it is really the key thing that makes us different. Hand-holding is real, guys. Hand-holding is real. Okay, so we have reached the end of our presentation. You can go to ibtc.co.za and you can click on courses, and you get CIMA drop down. It takes you to a bit of a cart that looks a little bit like a Woolworths cart, and you can add the subjects and toggle. I wonder if it is worth showing you. Hang on 1 second. Okay, let's try and do this, because this is ultimately what you want to do. Add gateway. See.co.za.
Nikki, I think we have everyone's on the website. I'm trying to fix it now. I think we've had a flood of people coming in, so I'm on it.
Okay. Great. So nonetheless, you can go to courses. Just one other thing I want to show you. Can you see this little button support here? If you can remember nothing of this presentation, remember this one thing. We are online in a chat like we're having today every Tuesday at 4 and every Thursday at 6. and you can go to support, and when you click on support, you get a thing that says speak to us, and you can come online and speak to us and just ask us anything. Sometimes Muzi is there, sometimes I am there, sometimes Vanessa is there, and you can ask us anything about FLP or about PQ or how to register or how not to register. So that is something nice to know. Come to our website, get a quote, or come to speak to us via support and speak to us. We will, we can help you with anything. Let me just see, is this the last slide? Is this the, oh, that is indeed the last slide. So we have reached the end of our presentation. Now that
Nikki?
you know, yeah.
I'm sorry, ma'am. I'm not sure if you're going to allow us to maybe ask a few questions.
Yes.
I'm not too sure.
Yes, sure. Go. We're also,
Okay.
I think Vanessa has also put some of the questions together and some exemptions. So
Yes.
guys, hang on. If you have asked a question, we will get to it, and we will also see if there's any exemptions that we can answer.
We have a whole list of questions, some administrative, some around exemptions, some around PER, and we will get to them all. So Ntando, you're unmuted now. Do you want to start? And then I'm going to go to the list of everybody who's already posted a question.
I'm going to start, ma'am.
Yes, you can
go.
start.
Thank you so much. I'm sorry for disturbing you, Nikki. Okay, I have like maybe 4 questions. Number 1, the FLP route. If let's say I decide to do it, will I still get a job? Because I sometimes see on CIMA groups now, like I mean the students, not the institutions, whereby there will be like that comparison and sort of being undermined when you do FLP instead of the traditional route. So will you still get a job? Is it not maybe something weak or whatever? Will they consider you like companies now when you're looking for employment? Is it not a problem when you don't do the traditional route? Then the second question, with regards to, let's say now I do up to E2, E3 maybe, and a case study, and it happens that I don't have money to finish, then I decide to go back to the university. Will they consider me? Or even if, let's say, you have the certificate level and now you are stuck due to finances, can the universities, our universities, maybe one of the institution consider my qualification? Let's say I pass the BAs or I pass up to the advanced diploma. Will they consider me still? I'm not too sure on that. Then with regards to articles, if let's say I study at IBTC, do you guys offer, I mean, do you look for companies for us when you finish studying, or I have to look for the company on my own so that I can do articles for CIMA? And then the last question, CIMA is too expensive, eh? Is there like graduation? And if let's say there is graduation, up to what level? Is it for like only a person who's going to have CIMA, or the person who just done the last number of CIMA? Or can you still get it if you have advanced diploma or diploma in CIMA? How does it work? Only if there is like graduation ceremony. Thank you so much, ma'am. That's all I have.
Okay, fantastic. I hope I'm going to answer in reverse if I can. So I'm not 100% sure what you mean by graduation. So yes, when you complete the whole thing, there is a CIMA graduation ceremony. It is a beautiful event. You can invite your parents and your loved ones to come and experience this with you. So absolutely. Then in terms of not completing the qualification, this is what they call exit qualifications. So if you get to a level, if you have completed up to your case study, then you will have a CIMA diploma in management accounting at, what was it, Muzi, NQF level 6, I believe, and nobody can take that away from you. It is a global qualification that anywhere in the world you can go to and say, I've got the CIMA diploma, and everybody will know what you are talking about, as opposed to going and saying, I have got a UNISA diploma, or I have got a Damlin diploma or something else. This is a global qualification and it's globally recognized. It is an odd question. I have to get my head around it, and maybe Charissa can help me with that. But it is quite odd for somebody to go onto a professional qualification like this and go back to an academic qualification. So to go back to university. So academic qualifications have their place, and our country loves academic qualification. They love a degree. They love to know that you've been to university. But once you start working, you really need a professional qualification. You need a designation. You need to become something and be able to do something. So what we've seen a lot of students do is you've got 10 years to complete this qualification. So if the last thing you passed is P1 and now for a while you don't have money or your life has changed a bit, you can, or you get a new job. Some people pause their studies because now they have a new job. But with this qualification, I believe that your career prospects are really good. So it's also not because, like an academic qualification, you say you have something, I am up to P1 or I'm up to P2. You learn to work differently and you learn to think differently. So you will get those promotions. You will be able to contribute more to your organization. And then when you are ready, when you've now settled in a bit more, you saved a bit more, you got that promotion, then you simply continue your studies. And I wouldn't want you to, at some point, move back to an academic qualification. Take your time. This is different to academic qualification in that an academic qualification, you want to get year 1, year 2, year 3, I'm missing one subject and then I can get my degree, and then finally you do that subject and now you've got your degree. But with a professional qualification, at every level you start contributing to your organization differently. And maybe after 3 or 4 years, you've worked through it, now you're at management case study management level and you dabble there for a while, and then you become better at your job and you get promoted and you say, now it's time for me to complete this qualification. You go to strategic level. So that is how I see it play out for you, as opposed to abandoning this and going to back to university and doing an academic qualification. Then what were the first questions again?
Okay. So I have a question here from Chipiso, which is, does the CIMA certificate expire?
Never. When you have it, you have it, and nobody can ever take it away from you.
Yes. In order to stay relevant, you do have certain CPD requirements, but that comes with being part of a membership body. You always have your CPD requirements that you have to prove your points every year. Okay.
Yeah, and then shall I answer the question about the articles?
Yes, please.
Okay, so there is no articles required as such for CIMA. So it doesn't work like CASA or CICA. There's no articles. Muzi, what is there if there's no articles?
So there you basically need to show your professional experience. And I think a good way to conceptualize it is to say, if you look at CIMA, it's got aspects of management accounting, aspects of financial, aspects of risk, aspects of mergers and acquisitions. So you'll find that out of the entire syllabus, if you can show that you are in roles that are actually aligned to this and you're practicing what you've been doing, then you would actually be able to do it. It's not as prescriptive about saying you need to do so many hours of this, this, and this. But if you look at the wealth of things that are part of the syllabus, showing that you've got the work experience, that it's not just theoretical, but you've put it into practice, is your practical experience requirement in a nutshell.
It's really just a documentation of the things that you do, if you like, while you are working, while you are in your current job that you're doing at the moment, right?
That's correct.
Okay. Charissa, you had a question?
Yep. Then I've got another question. Does coming up through the PQ and OT route better prepare you for management case study?
That is definitely
if anybody didn't see Muzi, he's nodding his head.
Definitely true. I think, if you don't do the E, P, and F route, you're going to still write an exam and it'll be assumed that you know all of that knowledge the same way CIMA has examined it before. And it's the exact same exam. So it's almost to say, having gone through that route makes it phenomenally easier. If you've not done those three, if there are any knowledge gaps,